Kyoya x Outgoing Reader, Part 2. I woke up late the next day, so I threw my hair into a messy side braid to keep it from going in everywhere. I put on a random t-shirt and a pair of shorts to go with it before I ran out of my door, and I stumbled into the limo waiting outside my gates. I finished tying my shoes in the back seat as we arrived at Oron. Marco, my butler, opened the door as I got out. "Good job, Private," I said before I saluted him and marched off. I could have sworn he smiled a little before shutting the door. I didn't notice when he gave a slight salute back to me. Today is going to be a great day, I thought to myself as I entered the school. Time skipped to last class of the day. To be honest, most of the day went by fast, and it actually was pretty good. Although I had to explain to Tamaki about 5 times that I wasn't actually into girls. Anywho, I walked into math class and breathed in loudly. I just love the smell of letters and numbers working together in the afternoon, I mumbled to myself sarcastically before I went to approach Missy. She must have heard my footsteps because she looked up at me with a look that could kill. I froze my body and put my hands up in a defensive manner and made my face look scared. I stayed that way for about a minute before Kyoya came up behind me and huffed. "What on earth are you doing, lion?" he said, looking at me almost as if he were actually interested. Medusa herself has looked at me, and now I'm stoned," I mumbled, moving my lips as little as possible to remain composed. But Kyoya let out an almost cruel laugh before he poked my side, making me shriek and cover my sides with my arms. "Thanks a lot, now she'll know that I'm immune to her stare." Was at a total advantage for once, I complained at him as he walked past me to his seat right behind me. To be completely honest, I had forgot he was in the class. "Don't forget to meet the host club after school," was all he said before he went back to the god-awful black book. How could I possibly forget? "I must make the lady swoon," I declared and winked at Missy for effect. Surprisingly, her cheeks turned pink and she looked away. "Ha! This is going to be fun," I thought to myself. I looked back at Kyoya, who had his eyes on his desk with an eyebrow raised. He wasn't questioning me, though. He looked like he was debating with himself. I was about to ask when Mr. Snick walked in and started our lesson, forcing me to turn around. Second time skip. I walked into the music room number 3. Right behind Kyoya, who had his face buried in his little black book. I swear he writes erotica in there. I was just talking about random things. I even started making inhuman noises, but Kyoya just kept nodding no matter what. "Were you born a girl, Kyoya?" I asked as we approached the doors. He just nodded again, and I let out a cackle in victory. He suddenly looked up at me and collected his thoughts before he realized what he just agreed to. "Wait, no, I wasn't born." I just swung open the door mid-sentence and strode into the room, quickly saying, "Too late." I giggled a little before I walked up to Haruhi and sat next to him. Tamaki soon joined us and held his hands in front of me to let me know of his presence. "One, if you are going to be a host, you need to know how to treat a lady. You should practice on Haruhi until we know you are ready," he said while he pointed up towards the ceiling, and Haruhi's sweat dropped behind me. But he isn't even a girl," I said, standing up, looking up at Tamaki, pouting my bottom lip. He grabbed my neck and pulled me into his chest, screaming something about how adorable that was and how I should make that face all the time. Haruhi came to my rescue by pulling me away from the blonde devil. "Actually, Lion, I'm not a guy. I'm just dressed like one. It's a bit of a complicated story." The now known girl said, I didn't feel the need to question her further. I trust that she knows what she's doing. I just looked at her for a little and nod my head before smiling at her. Tamaki attempted to hug me again, but Haruhi interrupted him. Tamaki-senpai, we need to start training, remember? Was all she said before Tamaki nodded and set us back down on the couch. I cleared my throat before I started to seduce. I leaned in close to Haruhi and pushed her short hair behind her ear. You make me wild, was all I said. And she started to laugh before she fell on the floor with tears in her eyes, clutching her stomach. What did I do? What did I do wrong? I asked, looking at Haruhi, then back up to Tamaki. I hadn't noticed Kyoya was listening to us with a bit of a flustered look. Nothing, my princess. You just had the wrong approach. You should have gotten closer and either whispered it into her ear or tilted her chin so you could say it to her face. I'll demonstrate on you, Mai. Tamaki started but was soon cut off by the low voice that belonged to a certain raven-haired boy. I would like to show her, actually, was all he said before he grabbed my wrist and pulled me close to his mouth. Pulled me close so his mouth was close to my right ear. You've warmed my cold heart. Stay close to me so I can stay warm forever. And with that, he let go of me and stood taller before pushing his glasses back up his nose. This was the first time I had ever been lost for words. After I recollected myself, I looked up and saw 6 very confused host members. Kyoya cleared his throat and everyone pretended to be very interested in the furniture around him. The boy who started this just turned around and went back to his laptop. After that, I continued to practice a bit on Haruhi before I could actually try it out on the girls who actually wanted me to court them. The room was soon filled with many blushing girls and loud giggles. Some girls even grew curious and approached me to know what it was like with the girl. I would bite my lip and come with some crazy first-time story to satisfy their need for knowledge. Most of them said they would see me again tomorrow, and I was officially given the title of the Wild One. But throughout my first day, I could feel the stare of a certain framed eyes. I left that day after I said goodbye to everyone and poked Kyoya on the nose before I screamed, "Until tomorrow, my forbidden love." To my surprise, he pulled on the end of my braid and said calmly, "I look forward to working with you, Ryan." I left after that and climbed into my limo. On the way home, I held on to my ear, and as I remembered Kyoya's breath against it, I sat there smiling like an idiot. I might make happy memories for the Dementor